everyone. My name is Sandra, and I'm a reference librarian at the Westmont Public Library. When I was tasked with coming up with a video to share about a family tradition, I couldn't really think of anything that I felt would be interesting enough until I remembered all the great memories I have with my family from all the road trips that we did over the years. So as you can see, I said road trips, memories from a Florida family. I was born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which, if you aren't sure where that is about 30 miles north of Miami on the east coast of Florida. It's way down there, and you're probably wondering why the heck I've moved up here to Illinois, but that's another story for another time. Neither of my parents, though, are from Florida. My mom is from Atlanta, and my dad is actually from Chicago. So by the time I was born, most of my mom's family had actually moved to Florida, so we saw them a lot. But my dad was the only person on his side of the family to ever leave Chicago, so every summer we'd pack up the car and road trip from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago, specifically to my grandma's house, which was about 2 blocks from Midway Airport. So as you can see from this map, it's a long drive. This says about 28 and a half hours. It definitely took us closer to 22, 23 between, I took a picture of this map very late at night, so it doesn't account for, things like Atlanta traffic and other traffic traps that you encounter on the way. And you can see I have a couple pictures from road trips. From doing this specific drive, actually. And you just see a lot of beautiful country on the way, but it is far. So my parents, for sure, are better people than I am, because I could not imagine doing that drive with a child. That's me, as a baby. I also couldn't imagine doing that drive with 2 children. So that's me and my my younger brother. And then eventually, as I kind of just hinted at, doing it with 3 children. So that's me and my brothers. You can see we're on a road trip in this first picture here. And yeah, we just, even though our destination was always Chicago, we always found a lot of great things on the way to see and to do. And like I said, I don't know how my parents did it. Because not only did they do this with 3 young children driving, across 5 states to get to Chicago, they also, especially when they were younger, they would drive straight through the night and not stop at a hotel and just trade off when the other got tired. Which really taught me a lot about resilience as a child. It also taught me things like how it should be a rule in every car you're in that the driver picks the music, which is how we'd go from country with my mom to classic rock with my dad. And, back then, if we couldn't sleep for some reason, which was a car, so not the most comfortable, my brothers and I would have to entertain ourselves with trying to see the screen of our Game Boy Colors that weren't backlit with the passing street lights, and just hoping we could see enough to move on to the next area as they kept going past our windows. And besides Chicago, even though that was our main destination, we went to a lot of fun places. We went to Washington, D.C., Myrtle Beach. We stayed in Florida and went to a place called Amelia Island, which is near Jacksonville. So it's still like a 5-hour ride. So definitely still in my book road trip material. And we did a lot of fun things on the way. My dad is a big history buff. So for a few years, every time we went anywhere, we stopped at any and every Civil War battlefield we came across. And which is how I've been to almost every Civil War battlefield. And sometimes the adventures we'd have, though, would begin before we even left Florida. So my favorite story, and this is probably one of my favorite road trip stories, and it happened before we even left. I must have been about 9 years old, which meant my brothers were probably 4 and 6, roughly. And my uncle came to see us off before we left for our road trip, which made my mom really happy. That's her brother. He doesn't always do stuff like that, so she was thinking, oh, he's finally paying attention to our family. He's finally being a good brother and a good uncle. Not that he wasn't before, just, moms can be dramatic. And so he pulls up, and we're already in the car, buckled in our car seats and seat belts. And my uncle pulls up, jumps out of his car, but leaves it running, should have been a red flag, and jogs over to us and looks at all three of us kids through the window. And he asked us, do you guys know the best part of a road trip? And we said no. And then from out of nowhere, my uncle pulled 3 huge Costco-sized bags of pixie sticks out and tossed one to each of us while saying sugar is the best part of road trips. And, he always laughs to this day when he tells that story and ends it by saying 2 hours later he got a call from my mom, and all he heard in the background is us kids screaming our heads off while my mom said dramatically, I'm going to kill you. And, that's just one of the really fun stories that we have while still in Florida. Some of the other things that I always loved about road trips compared to other forms of travel is that you just see so much. Like local wildlife, which in Florida is quite interesting, as you can see. So this sign, the warning, beware of poisonous snakes, that's at a rest area right outside of Gainesville, Florida, which is where the University of Florida is. And we just think it's so funny. And the first time we saw it, we just happened to stop at that rest area and we lost it. And so we make it a point every time we road trip, whether it's all of us as a family or just one of us driving through Florida, we all always make it a point to stop here to see this sign and take pictures with it and send it to the rest of the family. And as you can see, we also have a gator over there on that log. I did take this picture. And you just really get up close and personal with the local wildlife when you're on a road trip. It's kind of amazing the things you see on the side of the road. The other thing that I love about road trips and that my parents really instilled in me is to always look for the unique and the interesting and just like the things off the beaten path. For example, these 2 pictures. The general store is just a little general store we found randomly in middle of nowhere, Georgia, once upon a time when we were road tripping. I remember just thinking it looked really cool, and I took a picture of it. And this bridge was also it was actually right on the Georgia-Florida border, and we just happened to find it. We were, taking some low roads, got off the highway for a little bit, and it was just, just a really cool design and just something really fun to find randomly. And so I've always loved road trips, as you can probably tell, to the point where as I've gotten older, I've started to do some by myself, to just kind of go to different places and explore different parts of the country. And I've always loved all of my adventures. Don't get me wrong. They are great and they're some of my favorite memories. But they're never quite exactly the same as the experiences that I had with my family. And it took me a little while to learn that the reason for that is because my family road trip memories are so fun because we were there as a family. We've seen crazy things. I remember the first time we ever drove up, of course, to Chicago for Christmas, and it was I was 12, and it was the very first time I'd ever seen snow, and we all started freaking out because our temperature, we had a Suburban at the time, and our little temperature gauge in the rear view mirror started saying, warning, ice, and we had never ever seen it do anything like that before. And it was just, those little things are the things that you remember. Not the, and of course I remember the big things and the destinations, but it's always just the small little stories. Or one time we were driving and we were in Illinois, somewhere, some small town in southern Illinois, and we stopped at a gas station, and there was a gentleman there who had made himself, in front of the gas station, he had made himself a throne of Pepsi boxes, like of 12 packs of Pepsi, and he was just sitting on it and sleeping. And so we all called him King Pepsi. And just silly little things that I'll never forget. And while I've loved my solo road trips, they're just not the same as doing it with my family. And I wouldn't trade those memories for anything. So, this is the end of my family memories. But if you're interested in making your own road trip family, or excuse me, your own road trip memories with your family, we have a lot of great travel books in our travel section, and I know some of them definitely revolve around road trips, especially, fun things to see in different states and all that kind of stuff. And, check them out, find what you're looking for. I guarantee you will find something great, and I hope you make some great road trip memories of your own. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.